Ah, ah, Boy, I think just hearing from Natalie, America, Morgan, Shayla, and Yannette was just so overwhelming. And even though I've been doing this work for over 30 years, it just cuts you to the core. You think about the place that each of those extraordinary women were in when they finally found their way to domestic violence solutions, and you think of where they are now and that extraordinary nexus that happened when they found domestic violence solution. They went from hopeless to hopeful. They went from feeling they had nothing to offer to feeling that they had so many ways they wanted to give back to the community. They went from feeling worthless to feeling so full of worth and promise and joy. And we in Santa Barbara County are so fortunate to have an organization that can do that for such extraordinary women. And one of them spoke about how they just had this twisted sense of what a relationship should be like. And it was so hard for them to understand what it could be like. And I'm just in awe of all of you. And Shayla, I believe your words were the DA told you to speak your truth. And I held my breath, not knowing exactly what the words would be, but knowing the women and men I have at the DA's office, I had a feeling it was going to be something great, but that kind of took my breath away, because that is all we want at the district attorney's office. We want to give you an avenue to speak your truth. We want to give you justice. But then after that, there's really nothing we can do unless people become a part of DVS. Jan, you've done a remarkable job as the executive director. Julie Caprito did an amazing job as board president and still member of the board, and still great advocate. I cherish both my relationship with you and Julie, and I'm so happy you have each other. I think women building strong relationships with other women is so encouraging. And Elise, you know how much I love you, and it's so great to see you. So many amazing women as a part of DVS, so many people who are being brought up by DVS. Let me just give you a couple of facts, just so it's important for you to remember what a big deal this is. Domestic violence is the #1 violent offense in Santa Barbara County. What does that mean? Everything you're hearing about homicides or gangs or bar fights or people being hit and killed by cars pales in comparison to domestic violence. It is the #1 violent crime in our county. So, and the only organization that focuses solely on domestic violence is Domestic Violence Solutions. That tells you how much we need them. Another important fact, domestic violence, your socioeconomic condition does not matter when you're dealing with domestic violence. I've met some extraordinarily rich millionaires in Montecito who are victims of domestic violence. I've met people who are here in America, homeless women living in the streets who are victims of domestic violence, and men also victims of domestic violence. So it's the kind of thing we have to realize. And the reason I mention that is many of you have friends who are experiencing domestic violence. They are too embarrassed to talk to you about it, but you're sensing something. And if you sense something, say something. Get them the help that they need. Do whatever you need to do. I got to tell you, my best friend in law school was a multimillionaire, and she experienced horrible domestic violence to the point where her ribs were cracked. And she was too embarrassed to tell anyone about it. So I can tell you that it can be that close to you. But somehow, the minute she started speaking, I remembered seeing some signs, and I wish I spoke up sooner. She's doing well now, but it's incumbent upon us as community members. I'm especially concerned about domestic violence right now. On March 13th, I gathered all the executives in the district attorney's office, and we said, what's the worst thing that could happen with this pandemic? And immediately, all 7 of us focused on the same thing: in-home crimes. We knew that children would be out of schools, people wouldn't be coming to work, people wouldn't be going to the grocery store as much, to doctors, to pharmacies. And inside that house, what's there? Alcohol, drugs. and children weren't going to be in school, so the tension was going to be rising. Our number one concern was, oh my God, what about the people who are experiencing domestic violence? So we did as much as we could, and we worked closely with Jan, trying to get the word out. If you say something, if you see something, say something. One of the worst forms of domestic violence is rape. There was a saying once that I heard that I've never been able to forget. A rape victim who is raped by a stranger or an acquaintance has to live with the fact that she or he has been raped. A rape victim who is raped by their domestic partner has to live with a rapist. And more than ever during COVID, that became a huge concern of mine. I wondered how many women are living with their rapist, with their violent person. And again, I say women, but we also know men can be victims. Now more than ever, we need domestic violence solution. We need them to work their magic to help those 4 extraordinary women you heard from tonight not become the women that we also heard about tonight. And I don't know if you can see my candle, but my candle's back there. I lit one with you right next to my granddaughter's haunted house gingerbread cake, because, you know, my granddaughter, anybody's granddaughter, could become a domestic violence victim. And I just hope that from now and forever, organization like Domestic Violence Solution exists to hold us dear and to raise us up. Thank you all so much for spending time with us on the phone tonight. Thank you to the donors who've reached out. And thank you so much to the staff and the Executive Director of Domestic Violence Solution. I feel love. I'm a little overwhelmed by how much love I feel for all of you right now. Thank you.